Sorry.
Play.
All right. So from surviving eviction to double HOH, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling on top of the motherfucking world. Um, oh my God. Also, shout out to Matt from Crystal. I see him in the channel. Um, but I'm so excited. I really thought for sure, like if I was going up, I was going home, especially because of how much I pissed Dre off. So I was really kind of gagged when she ended up not targeting me. I think that was a little silly on her part because Leah, I don't think was much of a threat to her game. Whereas, like, I'm like, girl, you put me up, like, it's over. And also, like, just the way she'd been treating people during her HOH, I really didn't want to deal with that again. And I'd rather, like, fight with Robin and put up with his snake ass than, like, ever go through another Dre HOH in my life on Discord. So I'm very happy that she's out. I got my goal. I survived the week. I made jury. And then I won the double HOH, got my target out, executed a pretty flawless backdoor, which I'm kind of gagged about, like how well everything went. So yeah, I'm riding a little high. And I'm feeling good. I mean, obviously, like this will come now with some like I'll be a threat and a target, but I don't care. I'm happy. I got through the eviction. I've never been an HOH during a double. I've only been in a double once, and I got evicted during it. So that was super thrilling. It was super fun to be HOH during the double, and I'm just super happy. Also, shout out to Glai who joined the channel too.
All right. So let's backtrack a bit.
Yeah, I kind of covered
Last
a lot.
so last cycle, Dre wins, the HOH, and she ends up putting up Hex and Leah. Um, so at this point, how are you kind of feeling about the nominations? Um, yeah.
I was feeling great about the nominations, especially with how terribly like everything from the HOH win to the pre-nominate, like the whole pre-nomination period was a fucking nightmare. And my game was already getting like lit on fire and blown up a little bit. So I definitely thought I was in danger, and the fact that she wanted to, in the end, stick with the alliance and make the easy noms that she could have just done in the first place without like throwing a huge fit and like making a spectacle out of herself. So I was very happy with those nominations, even if they were two people I was aligned with. It just seemed like that was probably the best case scenario on a Dre HOH because at that point, the only person in the house I wasn't working with was Nathan. It would have been nice for him to be nominated, but after a while, I kind of figured that was unrealistic on a Dre HOH. So Hex and Leah was kind of the best situation for me, even as close as I was to Leah. And even though I have an alliance with Hex, it was just kind of like Hex can go. Hex isn't doing the most for my game. That's fine. So that's kind of where my head was at that point. And also just relieved to be safe. And even after like my game blew up a little bit and Dre threw her little hissy fit.
Okay. So you get into veto. Um, so kind of walk us through how your feeling about the veto competition was, if you wanted to have win it, and if you had won it, what would you have done? Especially if,
Mm-hmm.
Leah was probably expecting you to veto her. So how are you
Yes.
feeling about that?
I I knew it was a tricky situation because I did not feel safe. So I knew throwing would be a risk, which it definitely was. I was right about that. So I didn't hard throw. I just did the comp on mobile. Like I was like, if I just do it on mobile, I'll be slow enough, but like not completely like hard throwing it out the window. It just would have been a tricky situation to win because Dre would have wanted me to discard, and I was afraid like if I played it that Dre would then turn on one of my closer allies like Ari or Vlyn. Most specifically Vlyn. I was very afraid that like if I went against Dre's wishes that Vlyn would end up on the block, and that scenario is to me just as bad as myself going on the block. So, um I really just it would have been nice for Vlyn to win, like because he could have just used it on Hex or whatever. I didn't care what Vlyn did, but Vlyn winning would have been nice because he would have been safe, and I don't think things would have fallen back on me. But or if Dre just won and discarded, that would have been nice. But yeah, I definitely didn't want to win. I would have wanted to use it on Leah if I did win. I think what I was going to try to pitch to her was so she had a power that we gave her where she could force veto to be used, but not choose who it's used on. So my plan, if I had won, was going to approach her and be like, "Hey, I really want to use the veto on you. However, like."
Oop, this one disconnect. And did.
Sorry, my Discord cut out. Am I back?
Nope. Yes, we hear you. I'm sorry.
Okay, where did I drop off?
I whatever you were saying last, like we heard that.
Okay, so I was basically saying that, I was saying if I won the veto, my plan was to approach Leah about her power and be like,
Yeah.
hey, Dre is really on my ass, wanting me to discard it, and I'm afraid it could blow up our spot and show that we're working together if I did use the veto. So, what if you used your power, therefore forcing me to play the veto, so that then it wouldn't be as suspicious when I used veto on her because I quote unquote had to. And plus, it was kind of like not too big of a power anyway. It would have been like, it's not like something she really needed to save for a rainy day. I think it would have been hopefully okay to do that plan. But obviously I just ended up not winning, and I felt I could take the risk of not winning, and I paid for that.
Okay, so let's talk about that. So you know, Zeus tells you that he thinks he's going to be the renom, and you get told from Dre like, I got this new information, and I actually want you to be the renom now. So how are you kind of feeling about all of that?
I love how you phrased that like it was so like kind and sweet, and that's exactly how it went down. um Yeah, so basically, I was told from the very beginning that Zeus was going to be the renom. It was easy, it was clean. I knew it was a little dangerous because literally my mind went like, if Zeus wants to spill on me, Zeus can easily spill on me. And that's exactly what Zeus did. I really thought after Zeus approached me about the Robin backdoor comment that Zeus had my back, especially since Zeus used the power to quote unquote prevent me from being renom, which I wasn't actually at risk of being renom. It was just Robin running his mouth trying to stir shit. And obviously then Zeus saving himself with his power, but I thought we were really close because of that. And I actually had him, I think he was number 3 on my trust rankings. Like, so like we're like obviously my tightest bonds of the game are Ari and Vlyn, like our trio. Like I'm hardcore dedicated to that. But Zeus was literally like my main person outside of that, I thought. So it really sucks that he threw me under the bus. Apparently he told me today that he thought I would keep Leah over him, which actually is not the case. As much as I liked Leah, I think Zeus, I was closer with Zeus and thought he was better for my game. So I definitely would have kept him in that situation. So it sucks he threw me under the bus so hard. It also seems like Dre kind of maybe misportrayed things. Like Dre came to me and was basically like, I heard that you had more info than you were letting on. So of course I had to like fully spill everything because I don't know what she's been told and what she doesn't know. So I'm like, I might as well be honest about things. And then she came to Zeus and was like, well, Swan spilled all of this to me, blah, 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 blah. So Zeus thought I just like openly revealed like our whole plan with the veto, when in reality it was because like there was a woman with a gun to my head demanding I tell her everything I know, and I was scared for my motherfucking life. Which again is part of why I did not want another Dre HOH in my lifetime. So that's why she's home. But yeah, she kind of came really, really hard at me, which I said this in like the A-list chat, which I mean at this point that chat is basically my DR, but like she kept doing this like over the top like, ooh, like look at me, like let me get you, like I'm gonna come hard, and I'm like, girl, it's not, you're not doing what you think you are, and it's just tiresome and annoying. And I'm like, I get it, you think you're being iconic, but you're maybe the specs are living for it. I don't know. I mean, it is good TV at least, but I just didn't appreciate her approach to things and the way she talked to me during her entire HOH. We did manage to have some productive conversations, but in the end, I just really didn't want to put up with her shenanigans anymore. And so, yeah, when she came hard at me and I tried to explain myself, and then, I fully threw Robin under the bus. And then that's when I picked the public fight with Robin so that he could be publicly exposed for being a bullshitter and a liar, because like he was not very good at it. And then on the way out the door, Dre tells me that she has a final two with Robin, and she knew he was coming for me, and she covered it up. So like they just spent an entire afternoon gaslighting me, but that's okay. We all do it sometimes.
Okay, so you touch the block and you end up staying unanimously. Were there any votes you were concerned about, or was it pretty much what you expected?
I was a bit gagged and gooped, to be honest. Like, because like I said, why would you come that hard for me and then not target me? Especially when like I think I'm A, more of a threat than Leah, and B, like I think I've done better in comms than Leah. Um, it was funny because I think I was worried before I was nominated more than I was by the time I was nominated, because I had heard that Dre wasn't necessarily targeting me. I knew I had Vlyn and Ari fully in my corner, and so I just needed hopefully two, at least one more vote. I would say the people I was least confident in were, let me see. Well, I definitely thought I wasn't getting Robin's vote because like obviously Robin's gonna vote me out after the show we put on. Um Hex, Hex and Z's I knew were good with Leah, but I had pitched myself to Hex as like, hey, I'm willing to take shots at the people we need to take shots at, and I can actually win comps over Leah. And like, I know we don't talk a bunch, but I really want to work together. And so Hex fully was on board. I was a little worried about Hunter as well, but I kept guaranteeing to Hunter, it's like, listen, you didn't do anything wrong here. I realized like everything was misconstrued and this was all Robin. You know, you were never targeting me and I know that, and I will continue not targeting you because I think we could have each other's back. Nathan was the other biggest question mark for me. Just because I don't think anybody knows where Nathan's head is at game wise. So that was another one I was unsure of, but in the end, I really just needed like Ari and Vlyn to get one or two more people on board, and I felt pretty good about things. I think it helps that like Lee is not the most active-ish, just with her job and her schedule and stuff. And so I think it helped that at least as far as I know, she didn't campaign like a whole lot. And also, I played up part of the reason of playing up a big fight with Robin is because everybody wants to keep people at war with each other in the house. I play that strategy all the fucking time. So why not play the other side of it? You know, keep me in the game and I'm going after Robin. You don't have to worry about me. And also like Robin will target me. So I used a strategy that I've used on the other side of it and kind of made myself the hey, me and this other target are going to be targeting each other. So keep me around. It felt really good to be saved unanimously though. I was nervous last night, but felt better about things today. And with the conversations I had, I felt pretty secure that I was staying.
Okay, so let's do a play by play of the knockout, and you can mention if there's anything you find interesting.
Okay.
Um, so you go first, and you pick Z's immediately. So why that?
So Robin and I had a talk before about a bit of a ceasefire, and while I don't trust Robin as far as I can throw him, I'm not threatened by Robin as a comp player, first of all, and I'm also just not threatened by him as a social player. Like, he can get into people's heads and like spread lies and stuff, but once he's exposed, it's kind of like over for him. So I don't think he's going to have much pull on people anymore. So I was like, okay, I can keep things cute with Robin. I think picking anybody, if I'm not going to pick Ron, it's going to raise eyebrows picking anybody else if it's not Zeeves, because those are the two people I'm supposed to be mad at, even though Zeeves and I made peace with each other. Robin had also told me that he'd studied hard for the comp and had a lot of notes. So I was going to use that as my fallback excuse to, why didn't you pick Robin? That's the easiest person you should have picked. And I messaged Zeeves immediately after and was like, hey, I only picked you because Robin was prepared and I had to pick one of the two people I'm quote unquote mad at. So it was you. So it was an easy, bloodless first choice in the knockout.
All right. Hunter goes next and picks Hex. Um, Hunter
Not a
advances.
Yeah,
Um,
not a shock there.
Lynn goes next and picks Hunter.
Also not a
And Lynn
shock.
advances. All right. Ari goes next and picks Nathan, and Ari advances.
Period. Queen, mother.
Okay. It's also not an issue.
Well,
Um,
yeah, she said that Nathan asked her to pick him or something, and like I didn't care. It made sense for her too in terms of just who was left.
mhm. Okay. So Robin goes next and picks Flynn.
Also makes sense because I think, well, I can't tell if they're opposed. Flynn's saying and Robin's been throwing him under the bus, so that makes a lot of sense. And we talked about the ceasefire, so he didn't pick me, so makes sense.
All right. You're up again at this point. You obviously pick Robin, and you win the comp from here onwards. So,
Yeah, I pretty much had to pick Robin at that
okay,
point because I'm not going to pick Ari, and yeah, you get
right.
it.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Okay. So, and side note, what is our issue with Cult Classic Summerland?
I honestly no, see that's the thing. It's so funny because I work in film and like I go to the movies a lot. And so I watch a lot of these like niche movies and like random British films or whatever. So I was honestly just like gobsmacked that I hadn't heard of it, especially when I saw the cast. I was like, I know all these girlies. Why have I never heard of
Crying.
this film? So maybe I'll have to watch it now. Maybe you'll make a new fan.
Period. Period. Okay. So, right. So, obviously it's a double eviction. You have to do everything very quickly. Um, you end up going for Z's Robin Noms, and you're starting to get like this Dre backdoor setup. So kind of get into like details of like how you orchestrated this backdoor, how you made sure all the pieces fell into place, and how that went for you.
Yes, absolutely. I think first and foremost, what really helped was I talked through plans. Like we knew a double was likely coming with the quote unquote live HOH. So with Ari and Vlyn, I sort of planned ahead of time, like what each of us would be best for us, blah, 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 blah. And so I established pretty off the bat that it would make the most sense for me to nominate Zeeves and Robin because those are the two people that I'm quote unquote opposed to. But in the end, I wanted Dre out because she's a comp threat. And like I've said several times, I never want to live through another HOH of hers in my entire life. So Zeeves and Robin made the most sense. I only told people that I 1000% trusted to keep the plan close to their chest, which included Ari and Vlyn, obviously. And then I brought Zeeves and Hex in on the plan in our alliance chat. So um, basically, my thinking was with those four, I would have enough votes, especially because final nine, so 6 votes. I have to tie break at 3. So really, Ari, Vlyn, and I just needed one more person on board, and I knew Hex would easily be that person. So I put up Zeeves and Robin, um, and was kind of just like hoping and praying that Dre and Hunter wouldn't get picked. And surely enough, both of them didn't get picked, which is a gag. The bot was Team Swan today. The bot is a Swan stan. Thank God. Shout out to House Robotics. That's my girl. Never dissed. So yeah, I basically just talked around and I told Robin, hey, I'm putting you up, but we talked about a ceasefire and I just want you to know it's not my intention you go home here. And like obviously I told Zeeves you're going up. I have to pretend to be mad at you, but I let him fully in on the plan. The only people I really kept in the dark were Nathan and Hunter because I'm pretty sure they were both close to Dre, and I didn't want the plan to get leaked super ahead of time. Well, I guess Robin I didn't tell the full plan to either, but why would I tell Robin anything? So yeah, that's kind of my thinking and how I set up the back door, at least until the veto played, which that went flawlessly. Like I said, the bot was on my side, and then we just needed Nathan to not win because I wasn't sure what Nathan would do with the veto. And Flynn came through. Oh no, my mother calling me. Sorry, just like, oh, there we go. Okay, but yeah. So that's kind of where my head was at orchestrating the backdoor plan. I knew I had the support of Ari and Flynn, and so I just needed at least one other person on board.
All right, awesome. So now that we're in a post double world, kind of walk us through each of your remaining house guests and how are you like feeling with them as far as them in relation to your game?
Mm-hmm. Let's start with the obvious ones. Ari and Vlyn. Ari is iconic. She's a queen. I've seen her play before. I knew her reputation before, and I fully get why. Like, I don't care. That's my mother. That's my sister. I'll never evict her. And I'm like, I'm a disloyal bitch. Like, I'm a like fully like a ride or die girly that will cut you at 3. I learned that in my first Discord org. Shout out to Crystal Brother. I won final HOH and took my ride or die, and I fucking lost 8-1, and I said never again. However, I don't know. It's just like I'm so loyal to Ari, and I know she has so much social power in this house because she's so likable and sweet, and I don't care. I probably go home if I'm nominated next to her, but again, I don't care. And maybe I'm silly, but I'm just having so much fun with her. And I think that is part of it too. And I just really love and adore her as a person. And she's also just a good ally and a good player. She's somebody I can vent to. She's literally been like my rock in this game. Like when I've been going crazy, she's somebody I've always been able to talk to. And so, yeah, I don't see me turning on her ever, honestly. And that's so not Swan like. And then obviously next is Vlyn. That's my king. That's my little twink. Um, I love him too, and I don't really see me turning on him, although I do think he's the kind of player that I'm not gonna have to worry about turning on because guns are gonna be pointed at him eventually anyway. Like he's the winner. Like I think he's the one vet that's a winner. He's done well in challenges. So I'm less worried about Vlyn because I think shots will be taken at him eventually anyway. But I do love him and will stay loyal to him. I would maybe vote him out under the right circumstances. But honestly, like I trust the A-list so much and I need them for my own personal sanity in this game. And so that is very much part of my thinking with not turning on them. I don't really have a reason to. But he does have that legacy Final Four POV. So if he goes home sometime before Final Four, that would actually kind of be amazing. I just can't be the one to pull the trigger on it because then I sure as fuck don't get given that POV. Let's see who's next. Robin, Snake, Liar, don't care. I mean, I love and adore Robin. I've known Robin forever. We've hosted each other. But I know he's a snake and he showed his colors here, and I'm not at all surprised. I gave him the benefit of the doubt as long as I could. But yeah, Robin and I are over. He's probably my next ideal target because, yeah, we'll get to that. But yeah, Robin is the most against me and I'm the most against him. I have no reason to want him in this game. He'll probably continue to throw me under the bus. I know this whole ceasefire thing is bullshit. Like we put on a cute face for the comp, but I don't see that lasting at all. So that's my thoughts on Robin. Who's next on my list? Hex and I barely speak, but when we do, it's great. I'm like, hey Hex, can we agree on this thing about the game? And she's like, yes, I agree. And we move on and we don't talk again until we're like, hey, here's the thing I need you for in the game. And then we do it. We love a low maintenance ally. I'm a needy as fuck ally. Like I need like constant communication, but I don't mind that Hex doesn't do that for some reason. I don't feel like she's against me. I don't think she has any reason to be against me, especially when there are other people that want to be like gunning for the vets and there's this whole vet narrative. But I'm not really worried about her in that sense. And also, I don't think anybody would vote for her to win. So she's kind of I'll let her live. Like she can just sit there. Nathan is such an enigma. I think nobody knows where his head is at. I don't know if he has any real allies. But he's saying he wants to work with me, and I do trust him that he's saying he wouldn't target me because why would he? I don't think he has any reason to, and I really have no reason to target him. Obviously, like I'm gonna need to target him later down the line unless I want to like take him as a goat. I do. That is my one worry that I started to think about after this double with like the things people saying like wake up and like kind of like Nathan, you didn't even watch the video for the comp. I don't want him to get far enough to where he is a goat for somebody to take to final 2. However, if he's my goat, I'm not mad at it. So he can kind of stay around too, but I do worry if we get too far in the jury. If I don't feel close enough to him, I would want to cut him loose because, like I said, I don't want him dragged to the end as a goat that's not my goat. And he did approach me after the comp and was like, I don't have any allies. Will you be my shield? And I've never had somebody say that so bluntly, but like, you know what? Slay. I'll be your shield king. Nathan's just like no game, just vibes and is funny. And he could stay too. Um, then Hunter is like, I think Hunter's with me because I haven't betrayed Hunter. Like I told him I was gonna have him his back in the double, and I did. He didn't touch the block. I had no plans of him touching the block. And I think enough other people are after Hunter, like Vlyn and Hunter are after each other. So I'm not too bothered by Hunter. I don't think he has a reason to come for me right now. I think he's gonna be focused on Vlyn and the other vets. And so while it's probably better for my alliance for Hunter to go very sooner rather than later, especially because he's good at comps, I personally don't need Hunter out. So if it gets a situation where he's on the block and my allies want him out, I'll vote him out. But otherwise, I really have no reason to go out for him. And then Zeeves, oh, messy, messy, messy Zeeves. Um, Leaked like a motherfucking faucet to Dre, but I can't even fault him because I did the same damn thing. It sucks he threw me under the bus so hard and really blew up my game, but I'm also great at playing from the bottom, so like thank you, King. Um yeah, I definitely have a lot less trust for him than I did. However, I do think we mended fences enough. He might target me, but I hope not because I really would like to repair that relationship. And I really want to kind of lean into the trio alliance I have with him and Hex. So, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now. Like, Robin's kind of my primary target. I'd be okay with Hunter going, even maybe Nathan to an extent. But yeah, really like my priorities are Ari and Vlyn and obviously myself. But I just want to do what's best for us going forward because I think what's best for the three of us going forward is in the end best for me because I have the kind of unwavering support of two other really strong players.
All right. So a few more questions.
Cute.
So, Dre on her way out, she let it be known, hey, like, congrats, Flynn, on the win. And we all failed to take out, we're in final eight, there's four veterans left. How do you feel about what she had to say on her way out of the house?
Maybe I'm an idiot, but I think it just shows her lack of perception and lack of relationships in the house. Like, she thinks I'm not in a good position. And again, maybe I'm stupid, maybe I'm delusional, but like, I just think like she doesn't have a good read on the house. And even if the vets are working together, I think the only one working against me is Robin, maybe Zeeves. But like I know Vlyn has my back no matter what. And I feel like Hex and I are very much on the same page. So I'm not too threatened by like I know that it's now 4-4 with the vets and the newbies, but this like we've all played orgs. Like Ari, Vlyn, and I and Hex all come from the Crystal Brother world. Like, so we're all vets to an extent, except for Hunter, who I learned is like brand new. But I don't really have a vets versus newbie narrative for me personally. And it's not a narrative that I'm worried about because I'm more based on individual relationships and the small alliances I have, and I think I'm well positioned with those, and I'm not threatened by like the vets uh, working together and making like Final Four or something. I don't think that's beneficial for them. Even I think they should and will turn on each other eventually. Like Robin and Vlyn are already against each other, so I see no reason why to buy into a vet narrative. And like I said, I think it just shows a lack of proper game read on the dynamics of the house on Dre's part. But I love it because it's like, oh my God, yes, all the other newbies should go after the vets because that's not me. So say all you want, Dre. Do it. Like, put a target on their back. I don't care.
Okay. So kind of next question now that jury has officially started, now it's really kicking in. These people are going to decide on the winner. Who are you thinking? Who are you considering that you need to sit next to in the end? And who are you thinking are starting to look like the biggest jury threats at the moment?
Well, the problem is I think the biggest jury threats are probably Ari and Vlyn. But those are my two girlies. Between those, I probably should sit next to Ari because Vlyn has the winner narrative thing, and if he gets to the end, I think a lot of people just like auto vote for him. Um, So sitting next to Ari isn't ideal. Like, I think sitting next to Hex or Nathan or maybe even Hunter is best. But I don't want to sit next to them. Am I weird? Have I changed as a person? Um, this is wild for me, but I really don't want to drag a goat to the end. I think this org has been very dynamic and interesting and exciting. It's been a fucking nightmare, but I would hate for it to end with a boring unanimous vote. So in terms of jury threats, I do feel like myself, Ari, Vlyn, um, are probably the biggest jury threats. Maybe Robin or Zeus. But not too much. I definitely think I could beat Robin in a jury vote, but I also don't want to deal with Robin until final two, so that won't be happening. So yeah, unfortunately, the two biggest jury threats are probably my allies, but I also think that I am a jury threat, so I don't mind sitting next to one of them because I think we could split the vote really well. And Ari is super likable and has done really well, but I've kind of been more out there with my game and visible, which I think jurors would hopefully respect. And also, if I lost to Ari, like that's Queen, that's Mother, that's my sister. Like I'm not mad at it. So yeah, I think that's kind of where my head's at.
Okay, and lastly, a fan question of have you ever been to Erewhon before? I'm not sure if I'm saying it right.
I have not been to Erewhon. It is very popular in LA though. It's very bougie. And I have friends that go. It's just too goddamn expensive. Like, I don't have the time or the money for that. But funny story about Erewhon. I have friends that are a married couple, and one of them, he would go to Erewhon all the fucking time. And his husband recently had to be like, honey, you can no longer go to Erewhon. We just bought like an apartment. If we're buying this apartment, you cannot go to Erewhon anymore. So anyway, that's my fun Erewhon story. Never personally been, but maybe I should go just for the bit one time.
All right, well, thank you, Swan. It was good hearing from you.
Thank y'all. Appreciate it. Bye.
Bye.